The voice of the city.
98FM's Dublin Talks.
With Adrian Kennedy.
We're live every morning from 10 on 98FM.
Do you agree that there is an obligation on every single person to call the guards and report an incident of domestic abuse? Over the last few years, we've heard several campaigns urging people to report on suspected domestic violence, but are people still unwilling to do it? If someone hears a neighbouring couple having a serious domestic dispute and does nothing, are they just as bad? Well, the reason we're mentioning this is because of a post that went up on Facebook last night by a lady called Carrie. And here's what she wrote. Guys, can you bring this up? It's 9 o'clock and for the past 30 minutes, the people living above us in the duplex apartment have been killing each other. Not literally, of course. They've been screaming and smashing items on the floor. This happens at least once a month when they appear to get drunk. However, tonight my best friend is staying with me and heard the whole thing and thinks I should have called the guards in case the woman was in trouble and needed help. I told her, what's the point? It was all over after half an hour. Last time I rang the guards for anything, it took them 2 hours to come. If I was having a domestic with my husband and we have some screamers, I'd be disgusted if someone called the guards. My best friend said you are legally required to phone the police. Is this true? And that's from a lady called Carrie. And the question is, your neighbours are having a barney and it's quite vicious by the sounds of it, and you can hear it through the walls. Do you call the guards? Or do you mind your own business and let them sort it out for themselves? Patrick, you're on 98FM. How are you, Patrick?
I'm good, thanks. And you?
Good, thank you, Patrick. Well, what do you think? Do you think we should be calling the guards if our neighbours are fighting?
Well, it's different, Adrian, if people are just having unexpected words, you know what I mean? But if things are being smashed and it sounds like somebody's being struck or hit, then yes, absolutely, you know, because I was a Metropolitan police officer in the UK for over 20 years, and I remember getting called to one particular domestic dispute where a lady ended up in a coma.
So you believe that we should be taking it upon ourselves to call the guards? Now, somebody texted in a second ago to say you should knock on the door. You want to be a brave person to knock on somebody's door if they're having a row. Yeah,
well, I tell you, Adrian, that's up to the individual. If you're built like Arnold Schwarzenegger and you can handle yourself, that's fine. But you might open the door and things might just escalate from there, you know?
Yeah, no, I think that's... I wouldn't be recommending that advice to call to somebody's house, to knock on the door. Patrick, I have to ring you back, get the lads to ring you back because the quality of your line is awful. It keeps dropping out. Marie, you're on 98FM. Hiya, Marie.
Hiya, Adrian. How are you?
Marie, yeah, go on.
I would definitely call. I wouldn't knock, but I would definitely. I was in an abusive relationship, and only for my neighbours, I don't know, they, got the guards at the time for when I was in that situation. And I would definitely, if I heard something like that, I would definitely ring the guards.
You would definitely ring the guards?
Oh, 100%. Because, Adrian, you'd never have it on your conscience if it was a man or a woman who's beaten you and you see them going out in the body bag. You know what I mean? You could never live with yourself.
So,
definitely, I would.
Okay, but a lot of people would say it's none of your business what is going on behind closed doors. I mean, you've heard that expression, what goes on behind closed doors, and we should just butt out.
No, Adrian, well, the way I feel is, it's right, okay, it's none of your business. If I heard somebody screaming, a woman screaming, help me, she's not screaming for fun.
Okay, but from what I can gather with this particular story, it wasn't screaming, help me. This lady says, it happens at least once a month when they get drunk. Tonight, my best friend is staying with me and she heard the whole thing and thinks I should have called the guards in case the woman was in trouble. So she definitely wasn't screaming, help me.
Okay, well, that's fine, but I would feel the same way as her. I would say, once a month, okay, they're drunk or whatever. But Adrian, that could be once too often. And to let the guards come in and deal with it, and at least you get some satisfaction knowing that you rang And in case something really got out, it's worse again if they're drunk.
But it only seems to happen when they're drunk. But anyway, the bottom line is, you believe it is our civic duty to call the guards to let them know that there's quite a vicious domestic dispute going on next door.
I do, and I tell you nothing, Adrian, I believe a lot in. Now, a lot of people go mad. All this, or they're drunk, or, people say to me, I go mad when I drink vodka, I go mad when I drink. I think it has to be in you. That violence has to be in you. And it only takes...
Yes, it's either...
That's the excuse. The drink is the excuse.
Blaming the drink is just an excuse. All right, stay there for 1 second, Marie. Because, John, you believe we should all mind our own business.
Not really, no. I mean, we'll say for the sake of argument, I'm in my house, all right? Or any of us are, and we hear, they're screaming and ranting. There's obviously a Barney going on next door, right? That's not for me to intervene in, or pick up the guards because, oh Lord God, there's a domestic disturbance next. No, it's none of my business. This isn't America. There's no, absolutely not.
Okay, but what harm if you hear the couple next door flinging things at each other? You can't see what's going on, but you can hear what's going on, and
of course I can hear what's going on.
And it sounds fairly nasty. Surely you do have an obligation to call the guards.
Okay, in what way explain to me in what way you have an obligation to call the guards in that situation?
Because you're aware that a nasty situation and somebody's life could be in danger.
No, you're presuming somebody's life is in danger. You can hear, you're not seeing anything, but you can hear what seems to be a fairly volatile argument. But you don't know that anybody's life is in danger. You're making the presumption that somebody's life is in danger, and on the basis of a presumption, which could be totally wrong, you're going to pick up the phone and ring the guards and say there's a domestic disturbance. I don't think so. No.
But there you go, Marie. Mind your own business.
Well, only for my neighbours and their presumption, I wouldn't be talking on this phone today.
Oh, really? Explain that to me.
Well, I was in a very abusive relationship, and only for my neighbours that called the guards, I wouldn't be talking on this phone today, and I'm very grateful to them. So it worked out great for me. I don't mean this now, you hear a row, and you say, oh, that's only them again. You're in an abusive relationship.
Sometimes it is only them again, you know what I mean? I know you're talking about your own personal... I know you're talking about your own individual situation, but my point is that 9 out of 10 times, when you hear something through the walls like that, it is only, quote unquote, them again. Do you know what I mean?
I do understand, John, but you see that 9 out of 10, you see that one person, they could be the ones that would end up
Marie,
in the body bag.
So on the basis that 1/10 person could be the one whose life is in danger, you're saying that on the basis of that 1/10 person, we should then take the initiative 9 out of 10 times on the basis of the possibility, however remote.
No, John. What I'm saying to you is, I was that 1 in 10.
And let me ask you, Marie, had your neighbours not called the guards? Obviously, this is a story very similar to what we're talking about here. Your neighbours heard it getting out of control. They called the guards, and the guards arrived. Did they?
They did, yeah.
And
I was taken to hospital, and I got out of the situation then.
Right.
I got out of that situation.
Had they not called the guards,
I wouldn't be talking to you on the phone, Adrian.
He didn't knock lumps out of you.
But that's what I'm saying, like John. I was that 1 in 10. So
that's not the rule. I think 9 out of 10. I think it's safe to say that 8 or 9 times out of 10, it is just another Barney with such and such, in the next house or whatever.
John. I'm not denying that. What I'm saying to you is, I was that 1 out of 10.
Okay, do me a favour, both of you, and stay on the line there for 1 second if you can, please. 6797 981 is our telephone number. Just got a message and it says, ask John, is it worth ringing the guards 10 times if you get to save one person's life? Because from what he's saying, he thinks it's not worth it. What do you say to that, John?
That's a stupid... Whoever sent that text in, that's a stupid, infantile comment, that is. I mean, that means that on the basis that somebody just might. No, that's nonsense. No, absolutely not. That's nonsense.
Well, you heard Marie's story. You could have been the person who rang the guards. She says saved her life.
Were we there?
No.
Were you there?
No, obviously.
Did anybody see? Did anybody, apart from the people that were present in that room or in that house, actually see what went on?
No, but you've heard the lady say she believes that calling the guards on that occasion saved her life.
We heard her say, Adrian. We heard her say. Do you know what that's called in court? We heard her say. Do you know what that's called?
Hearsay, yes, I understand.
Exactly.
Okay, stay there for a second. Sam, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Sam?
Not too bad, Aidan. How are you?
Good, thank you, Sam. Is it our duty? Should you call the guards if you hear a major bust up in the apartment or house next door to you?
I think you have to actually assess the actual reason. If the couple next door to me, like, they knock basically lumps out of each other, but she's given as good as she can, and you can actually hear them. But we called the guards now a few weeks ago, and it was actually the kids screaming that caused it.
Right.
So there was no way. We had to actually get the guards involved. With the kids involved, I had to ring the guards.
Sorry, you said it was the kids screaming that caused the row?
No, it was actually the kids screaming. He came home from the pub. He drinks regularly. He came home from the pub. As soon as he came in the door, she started getting into him, and then something went on, and she screamed, and the kids started screaming as well, and then he slammed the door and walked out.
Okay, so it was because you heard kids screaming that you rang the guards. But sorry, he slammed the door and walked out?
He actually got back in the car and drove out.
So he was gone. So why'd you call the guards?
No, we didn't know what he did. She could have been hurt. We heard a bang. We heard the kids screaming. The kids could have been hurt. She could have been hurt. We didn't know what went on.
Okay, but you knew at that stage that he was gone. So why didn't you just pop in?
No, to be honest, we actually don't really get on with the couple next door either.
Oh, right,
so,
okay.
And they haven't talked to us in the last month since. So they must have known it was actually yours to actually call the guards. So obviously they were put out that we did call the guards in the first place. But for the kids' sake, we didn't have any choice.
Okay, can you understand why they're not talking to you over a row? Yeah. I mean, we all have rows.
Oh, we do. Are we listening to rows day in, day out next door? This is regular. He comes home from the pub nearly kind of 3 or 4 times a week, and they go at it non-stop. Excuse me.
But what made this one different for you was that you heard the kids screaming or crying or whatever, yeah.
There's actually a 10-year-old and a 3, a 2, and a newborn next door. And when the kids started screaming, we didn't know what was going on, and we had to get involved. Normally we don't. We just let them at it. But this time when the kids, we didn't know what went on with the kids because there was screaming, and it wasn't just a normal shout. It was a pure big scream.
And I assume the guards arrived, did they?
Oh, they did. Within 40 minutes they arrived. There was a female guard and a male.
Okay.
And you were actually in the house for a good half an hour.
Right, okay. So you're happy that you made that call.
Yeah.
The neighbours haven't spoken to you since, but that doesn't really bother you.
No, that doesn't bother us whatsoever. As long as those kids were actually okay, the two of them can do what they like, but when the kids start getting involved and getting hurt, that's a different story.
No, I think a lot of people would agree with that. John, what about that? There's kids screaming next door that they're afraid of whatever it is going on with Mammy and Daddy. Would you not call the guards then?
Look again, right? He's already he's automatically biased in that he's already said twice that we don't particularly get on with the neighbours, right? That's the first thing. Number two,
that's not the reason he rang the guards now.
Well, it wouldn't have. It wasn't the reason he rang the guards, but it probably would have been a motivating factor for him to ring the guards a little quicker than he would have done had he really got on with the people next door.
Well, Sam, would that be an extra motivation?
Not really, no. Because we actually don't really get on.
You didn't like them.
That's got nothing to do with it. Whether we like them or not, we still have an obligation with the kids there. We have to ring them.
But you said you didn't like the... Of course it's a motivation.
Well, stay there for 1 second. Derek, why are you annoyed listening to this conversation?
John, is that his name? John?
Yeah.
Okay, he hasn't got a clue. I just want to ask him a quick question. John, how are you doing? Are you well?
I'm
Hello,
fine,
John.
yeah.
Yeah, good,
Yes,
good.
I
Just
can
a
hear
quick
you.
question for you. Yeah, Grant, I'm on hands free here, so that's why I'm finding it a bit difficult. You said you'd have to physically see what was going on in order for you to act on anything. Is that correct?
Well, in order to have a a more accurate picture, I would imagine so, yeah.
Accurate picture. Okay, so would you know the difference?
You're not a lawyer. Listen, don't pretend you're a lawyer. You're not a lawyer.
I
Don't
never said
pretend
it
you're
was.
a prosecuting
I never-
attorney.
Okay,
Well, then stop
let
acting like
him
one.
speak. John,
Well,
go
then
on.
stop acting like one.
Oh, sorry, Derek, go on.
John's an invalid. Okay, so he seems to
And
think
you're an
that-
imbecile.
Yeah, okay, well done, John, well done. You're doing yourself proud. Would he know the difference of hearing someone being raped or seeing someone being raped? Answer that question, yes or no. Just a simple yes or no question.
Well,
So
John.
he can't answer. He can't answer. John, what's the story there, man?
No, he's actually gone. He's gone off the line.
Do you want to know why that is, Adrian? Because he just made a show of himself, and he knows what he's after saying is, oh, well, like, in order to act on something, you have to see it. So if he saw someone being raped, he'd do something about it, but if he heard someone being raped, he wouldn't, because he's not actually physically seeing it. Surely you'd know the difference if there was a domestic, if there's physical violence or not, just regardless of screaming. I mean, point proven, he hung up the phone, chap's an invalid. Listen, I have to go back to work,
Well,
man.
by the way, not a nice expression to use if you don't mind me saying, Derek. Okay.
Anyway,
Thank you.
it is what it is.
Good luck. Sam, you're on 98 FM. Hi, Sam.
How you doing there? Still here?
Oh, sorry, you're still there. Sorry, Sam. The bottom line from your point of view is that if you can help, you should help, or do you understand people saying mind your own business?
No, but everybody kind of has rules. We have rules ourselves. Like, you know, wouldn't say you know by the tone of the voice, what they're saying. If one gets more aggressive, you can actually tell. And if it does get more aggressive, I think it's your obligation then and your duty to try and help the person that's actually being hit or vice versa.
I'm just wondering whether we actually achieve anything. Although having heard Marie's story, you have to think, God, yeah, I could save somebody's life. That's what she claims happened to her. One last call on this, and that's you, Kevin. You're on 98 FM. How are you, Kevin?
Good morning. I'm good. Look, I don't see why. Look, I know. What's to stop doing a civil thing, regardless if you get on with your neighbours or not? You know there's something going afray. You know there's kids in next door. Simple, common sense, knock in. It'll stop everything. Right? They'll know they've gone over the top with what they're doing, whatever they're doing, regardless of getting your neighbours. Especially if you know there's kids involved. Regardless, that just makes common sense. There's no need to get the guards involved. A bit of common sense. Doesn't matter what you see, it's what you hear. And it's what you hear, your brain kicks in. Because you know, we all have common sense, and we know, right, this has gone a bit OTT. Right, so that guy saying you have to see it to believe it,
yeah,
BS, right? The other guy, in relation, he doesn't get on with his neighbours, doesn't make a difference, right? There's kids involved, use your common brain, use your brain, basically, right? And if it look, the neighbours aren't talking to him now anyway. If he'd called in before, rather than ring the guards, they probably wouldn't be talking to him anyway either. So next time, guys, just saying, use your brain. Call in, call their mobile. They must have got on at one stage. They're bloody neighbours, for God's sake.
Okay, so use your common sense is Kevin's advice. Let me just read. I was in this position before, says this message, where neighbours were fighting, but went in myself to see if everything was okay and the dispute was finished and the woman left the house. No point in calling the Garda because it will be an hour before they even show up, says that message. And yeah, that other message... Is it worth ringing the guards for saving a life 1 in 10 times? Yes, it probably is. And then one last text message here. My ex climbed in a window in the middle of the night and was strangling me. My neighbours heard the kids scream and call the guards. He would not have stopped. He would have killed me if they hadn't called the guards. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks.
The voice of the city.
98 FM's Dublin Talks.
With Adrian Kennedy.
We're live every morning from 10 on 98 FM.